You're missing out, man. It was like a ghostly thing when I entered the channel, and then when I unmuted, it was another sound. They went all out. Discord.
No, I don't put sound effects on because it's not good when I stream.
Well, yeah, that's true, but you can silence them, can't you? Or you probably just do the
I
full
do
desktop
silence them.
audio.
They are silenced.
No, I just mean like you do the full desktop audio, right, for Discord.
Yeah. So I don't hear any spooky stuff.
That's too bad. You got to inject your own.
I wonder if that's a thing on my Discord. Like I can make custom sounds.
I think you should be able to, although that might be locked behind Nitro. But wasn't there a way to have a sound effect when somebody joins, or is that a fixed sound that you can add?
I don't know. I don't know what's fixed and what I can change.
Because I remember we talked about that like if somebody joins the channel, there could be a sound effect for them.
I mean, you probably are right. Probably is locked behind Nitro.
Good old Nitro.
Subscriptions. Everybody's got to make that money, so you gotta lock things behind subscriptions.
Hey, I'd do that. If I had a platform, I would absolutely monetize the crap out of it.
And then you probably wouldn't have a platform for very long.
Well, I mean, it's a balance, right? You gotta entice everybody to come join your platform, monopolize it, and then they have nowhere else to go. And that's when you shoehorn as much crap as you can.
That's the way to do it.
You gotta find a niche, like Discord, it found its niche. Gamers and other people talking to each other. I don't actually know how Discord managed to find such a niche. I guess because there wasn't anything that was streamlined enough for the general population to chat between amongst themselves.
Yeah, I mean, before it was just kind of like
Well, you had TeamSpeak, you had Mumble.
Zoom and that.
No, like for gaming, there was dedicated audio stuff, but yeah,
Oh yeah, there was TeamSpeak. I forgot about TeamSpeak. Well, I think the advantage of Discord is they made it into a community.
that's true. That's how they enticed people. They made it so that it wasn't just for your immediate group of friends that you had to share some sort of local based server or some server you had to purchase elsewhere.
Well, that's it too. Yeah, you didn't have to purchase a server. You can set it up to be like a real community, not just audio or basic text.
It's ironic that they called themselves Discord. I thought Discord always has a negative connotation, in my opinion.
That's what people like. Gamers like to sow discord.
That's true. Yeah. It's funny because there's another application called Discourse, which is like a forum tool basically, a nice streamlined modern version of a forum, you could say. So it's funny the fact that I think they came out at about the same time. Discourse sounds much more politically correct.
Well, we're stuck with Discord. What are you gonna do? What are you gonna do? Just gotta use Discord and pony up for Nitro. I remember when Discord had games. Man, that was a mistake.
What do you mean?
Like they had their own store for games.
Oh, that's right. And you could can you purchase them there and they were actually like running from within Discord, launching from within Discord?
Yeah, like Steam.
It wasn't just keys, right?
No, it wasn't just keys. They got rid of that, I think. I don't know. I had a game on here. I bought a game on here because it was the only place that I could get the game that it was. And
Whoa, what kind of game was this? That only Discord provides it.
it was an ASIM. I mean, now Steam has it, but at the time, only Discord had it. And it was a ASIM horror game called, I don't remember what it was called. Something about classes.
Classes for the masses.
No, it was called last year?
That has nothing to do with classes, though.
I don't know. That's just yeah, because
Classes in the sense of schooling.
it had like a subtitle on it afterwards, and I can't remember what it was called at one point in time. But yeah,
Last day of
Last Year.
classes.
It's called Last Year.
Oh, okay, so it wasn't last day of classes.
I think I'm thinking classes because I think one of the maps was like in high school or something like that. This one I was like, yeah, I'll buy ASIM games because I like them. But then I think this was I think this was the game where I think this was the game that convinced me like don't buy ASIM games.
And for anybody who's unaware, ASIM being ones where you have, let's say, 4 people playing against one monster, where the multiplayer aspect is different depending on who you're playing as.
Yeah, so like Dead by Daylight's the most popular ASIM horror game. Because the thing with ASIM horror games are they die and then you've bought a $40 game or whatever it is. They're usually a little bit cheaper, which is okay.
They should make them free to play.
They should make them free. Well, I don't know. Anything
Like
that's
they should
online
launch
only.
them free to play.
I mean, you can make the argument that anything that's online only should just be free to play.
yeah, and then just monetize the crap out of it.
Yeah.
I'm happy with that. I don't play those games.
The problem is with online. Well, the thing is with online only games, like they're gonna charge you money. It doesn't even matter. Like if it's an online only game or has a strong online component or a focused online component, even if they charge you money, they're gonna monetize the crap out of it. There's very few games nowadays that are online only or have a strong online component that don't have stupid monetization, whether they charge you or not. It's not a thing. So, I mean, free to play really is the way to go. And then you end up getting more people. That's the thing. You get more people. Like, there's probably a lot of games that failed that probably would have lasted a little bit longer under free to play circumstances.
Well, that's the most important thing, right? If you're starting out with a multiplayer game where you're reliant on having a lot of people playing, you want it to be free to play. That's the most likely. You're gonna get plenty more people that way.
I mean, you would think so. I think that's most people's common thoughts on the matter, but for some reason, that's not publishers' thoughts on the matter.
Yeah, but we're not making the big bucks like those publishers. So what do we know?
That's true. What do we know?
Maybe it actually is more cost
What do we
effective.
know about launching games? Those publishers, yeah, whatever. Yeah, those publishers who launched games like Concord that were only online, that launched to about 400 players and closed down inside of 2 weeks.
But it's all part of a bigger plan, It could very well be like part of a bigger plan where it's like, oh yeah, this is a flop, but man, on the horizon, we're making billions. I can just imagine somebody in the back room sitting there and just like plotting world domination, and this is just the first step to that.
The only way you can even think that is if you're already a big studio like Ubisoft. Because you can have a flop and be like, oh yeah, our next game, that's the one. But if you're a new studio, you can't afford a flop right out of the gate.
Well, was Concord made by a new studio?
Yeah, it was a new studio.
I thought it was just backed by Sony.
It is backed by Sony, but it's a new studio.
Wow, but then it's like, well, Sony's got a lot of money.
Sony's going to shut their asses down, and that's how that's going to go. The fact they haven't yet is kind of a surprise.
I told you, it's backroom dealings that we're just not privy to. It's going to be good. They're going to re-release Concord, and it's going to be even more diversified.
They very likely are going to re-release Concord.
It's going to be even more woke, and it's going to appeal to everybody, and everybody's going to love it. Everybody's going to be hypnotized by it and pour all their money into it.
Yeah, I'm sure they will.
I don't know why they would call it Concord at this point.
Well, maybe they'll change the name.
Wasn't that the name of the wonderful airplane back in the old days? They butchered it as a result. Now when kids look at Concord, they're going to think, oh, it has the same name as that crappy game that flopped.
It's true.
Instead of the marvel of technology that it was.
Well, oh well. Life goes on. So, it's podcast day. This episode's going to air after...
Right after Halloween.
No, this one's going to air after the elections is what I was getting at. We already did the one that's going to air. When's this? This is going to air on November... Oh no, this one's going to air on November 4th. Oh, right before the elections. So, if you're in the United States, vote.
Yeah, because we know who's going to win, but you should still vote.
Yeah, we know who's going to win. Yeah.
It's going to be a comedy no matter what happens.
No. You got to vote. The reason sometimes elections don't go great is because voter turnout is so low. Young people don't vote. Young people need to vote. It's your future, whether you think so or not. That's the message. So what kind of future do you want? Figure out the issues. Vote for your candidate of choice. I'm not telling you to vote any specific way, although I'm thinking it. But just get out and vote. Take part in your democratic process. Take advantage of your rights. That's the thing. Use your rights. You have them. They're there. You're allowed to shape your country. Get out and vote. Be a part of it. That's all I gotta say. Good luck. The future of America and perhaps the world rides on it. Anyways, in lighter news...
I thought that was pretty light. I told you it's going to be funny no matter what happens. If one side wins, the other side's going to be so pissed off. There's going to be laughter all around. If the other side wins, then it's going to be laughter from the get-go.
Well, maybe on the global stage until things happen, but this could be a very dangerous election. It seems to be gearing up that way. I don't necessarily know if I would consider it a laughing matter. It seems to be a very volatile political atmosphere in the United States right now. That's why you gotta stand up for your rights. I always think of that poem, or that short story or whatever you want to say. Like, first they came for whatever, and I didn't stand up for them. And then they came for whatever, and I didn't stand up for them because I was not one of them, etc. Then they came for
You're
me.
really painting that poem in a good light for anybody who's not
It's
aware
like,
of it.
well, it was like
I know
first
what
they
you
came.
mean. No, I know
First,
I know
they
what
came
it
for the
is.
black
But
people, and I didn't stand up because I was not black. Then they came for the Jews, and I didn't stand up because I was not a Jew. Whatever it was.
well, let's find it. Let's find the poem and recite it now. I think that'd be valuable.
So it's called First They Came. It's a poetic form of a 1946 post-war confessional by the German Lutheran pastor Martin Niemöller. The best-known version of the confession in English are the edited versions in poetic form that began circulating in the 1950s. The United States Holocaust Memorial Museum quotes the following text as one of the many poetic versions of the speech. And here it is. So it's not very long. The edited version that's in the Holocaust Museum. First, they came for the socialists, and I did not speak out because I was not a socialist. Then they came for the trade unionists, and I did not speak out because I was not a trade unionist. Then they came for the Jews, and I did not speak out because I was not a Jew. Then they came for me, and there was no one left to speak for me.
That's deep.
That's what it comes down to. It is deep, Everybody thinks, oh, it's not going to affect me. It's going to affect somebody else until it does affect you. So, that's how it was in Germany. They came for certain groups, and people just went along with it because they were like, I'm wealthy, high end. Even Jewish people thought back then, like, as long as we were making money and all that kind of, a lot of money, didn't matter if they were going for the lower end Jews. And then guess what? They were going for everybody. So it was a very snowball effect, and really, even some of that you're seeing in. It's weird because you're actually seeing that in the United States right now. Like the anti-socialist, like socialism is not necessarily a bad thing, but you got a lot of people that are anti-socialist. Same with trade unionists. The amount of people that
What's trade union?
are against union. Well, again,
just like unions. Okay.
Yeah, that are against unions. Like the dock worker. The most recent thing was the dock workers in the United States, and that might still be going on.
Are they for or against their union?
Well, I think there's a strong sentiment against unions.
No, the dock workers, though, specifically.
Well, the dock workers are part of a union. They make a lot of money, so I imagine they're probably for unions.
Oh, okay. So people are against them.
Yeah.
Because you make it seem like it's a big deal, but if they're not the only ones, but why are they in the news?
Well, because they're striking right now.
Oh, I see. I feel like there's strikes all the time, everywhere.
Oh, there's always strikes. There's always strikes.
I don't know why this one's making the news.
They all make the news, though. All the big ones make the news. I mean, dock workers are a big thing. They strike, and guess what happens? The
docks close.
The docks close. That means,
That's certainly going to affect me.
Well, no, because you're in Portugal, right? But I mean, if it were to happen, I don't know what the...
Our docks are already closed.
Oh, okay. Well, why are your docks closed?
I don't know. They closed a couple centuries ago.
They're probably striking.
Yeah, from a couple centuries ago.
Well, no, I know for a fact that you have ports that are open because I've done shipping to Portugal.
They probably went a roundabout way.
That go in through ship to ports, to multiple. There's actually multiple places in Portugal I've shipped to. So through boat. So I know for a fact that you have docks that are open in Portugal.
All right. I'll take your word for it.
So the dock workers are the big one, but I mean, in Canada, Boeing was it Boeing?
Well, Boeing, that was a strike for fear of life, I think, wasn't it?
No, it was no. I don't think so.
No? That's pretty.
So there was an airline one that was, I don't know if it was Boeing, but there was an airline one that made the news, and the ones that make the news are the ones that impact day-to-day life. So you hear the dock workers, because that means goods can't travel. In Canada, we had the railway strike, which was squashed by the government, which is weird because liberals are supposed to be pro-union.
Well, liberals, I like to think that liberals are right in the middle, so they're flip-flopping all the time. They're like, today we want to be conservative, tomorrow we want to be socialist.
Yeah, it's true. Canadian liberals are kind of more in the middle. You got the NDP on the left, and you got the conservatives on the right. Then you got liberals that say they're on the left, but they really are centrist because they make a lot of friggin' stupid right-wing decisions.
It's for money. It's always for money. They flip-flop just to be able to they're on the left side. They're on the left side when they want to appease the people.
Yeah.
And then when they
want a
need some money, they
grandstand.
go to the
Yeah,
other on the other side, and they get the money, and then they go back. It's perfect.
exactly.
Seriously,
Exactly. It's true.
the brilliant method of government until people, catch on, which they won't.
Yeah,
so
until people
it's
get
all-
sick of it.
It's all
Well,
good.
they've already started turning against the Liberal Party. Like, there's pretty much a 0% chance Liberals are going to win the next Canadian election, so federal election. So you hear about those strikes. Canada Post looks like it's gearing up for a strike in the next few weeks, so you're going to hear about that for sure.
People aren't going to get their packages or their letters.
If you're in Canada, and this is the worst time. They've done it at the best time of year. Like, the Canada Post contracts expire at the best time of year because they expire right at Christmas.
I mean, that's good. That's good for the people striking because they have leverage. They're like, well, you're not going to get your stuff over Christmas.
Well, same with teachers. They don't strike in the summer. They strike when it's in the school year because you gain leverage. So we always have teacher strikes in Canada because we got like 5 different unions in Canada for teachers, or in Ontario for teachers.
And being a teacher sucks.
And being a teacher does suck, yeah. The only reason you don't see healthcare stuff in Canada, I don't know how it is elsewhere, but it's because they're actually not allowed to strike, which is kind of weird.
They get shot.
Yeah,
For anybody who's not a Canadian, they get shot.
that's why we have a healthcare crisis. We don't have enough doctors and nurses. It's because they strike.
That's why Canada has some good gun control policies, so that the only ones who can shoot are the ones who need to shoot the people who would strike.
Yep, it's true.
I may be making some of this up.
Which is wild for a podcast that's supposed to be education. That's supposed to be tagged as educational across our various platforms.
I bet you there's flat Earth podcasts out there that tag themselves as educational. I'm allowed to do whatever the hell I want.
Well, do you want to put yourself in the same category as flat earthers?
Sure, why not? They're popular.
Well, they're popular amongst a certain group of people.
I like to be in the middle. I like to flip-flop. I like to catch the people who believe certain things, and I'll also catch the people who don't believe certain things.
Sure, why not? Works for Joe Rogan.
Exactly. There's a lot of inspiration there.
All right. Well, you got to follow your heart. Follow your heart. That's what we say. Do your research and vote. That's the point. Or they're coming for you.
Yeah, don't get your information from our podcast. Only the inspiration to vote.
Thing is, don't ever get your information from one source ever. You gotta jump around because everything is biased. It's always colored. Doesn't matter whether it's a newspaper or a podcast or
Donald Trump himself. Imagine somebody going up to the political candidate, interviewing the political candidate. You never know what they're going to say.
Yeah, you really never know what Trump is gonna say.
Yeah, that's half the fun.
And sometimes he's just not gonna say anything. He's gonna sway. He's gonna sit there and dance to music for half an hour.
Yeah, that's why it's hard to tell what's going to happen.
Apparently, he did it again the other day. He came out. I guess he was like 3 or 4 hours late, and then he didn't talk for like 20 minutes. He just walked around the stage. Hold on, this is the best part. While WWE's Undertaker theme song played, and if you don't know what WWE's Undertaker theme song is, you're gonna listen to it, and hopefully we're not gonna get copyright striked.
There's no such thing for podcasts.
Oh, is there not?
We're above the law. Yeah.
Oh, sweet. All right, here we go. This is the Undertaker's theme. It's the Death March. It's the Death March. This is what he walked around to for, I think it was 14 minutes the other day. Hold on. Tell me this isn't the most ominous thing. Like, what? Like, he didn't walk around to Beyonce because she wouldn't let him.
It's a sign of things to come, I think, really.
Like, this is what he walked around to the other day for 14 minutes.
It's foreshadowing.
I was just...
Yeah, it's catchy, actually, I get it.
Okay, Undertaker was very popular
It's
in the
also
wrestling
fitting
world.
for Halloween, I get it. He's appealing to a lot of people by doing this, Don't
Don't give the right-wingers any excuse for normalizing what Trump did.
Oh no. That's the thing, though. You have to remember all these things that he does. Unfortunately, they are appealing to many, many people.
Well, it's true.
And so, and I said this before.
But it's not. They can explain it away. That's the issue.
Well, you can explain everything away.
Well, that's it exactly, and it's like that's why you don't want to give them fuel. You don't want to say like, "Oh, it's catchy and it's Halloween," because some right winger will be like, "That's exactly why Trump did it." You know, he's just appealing to the voters. He's just having a guffaw, and they nobody. I don't even know if I use that word right, but I sure as hell know that no mega person knows what that word means. You know, he's just having a laugh. He's just getting into the spirit of Halloween. Like they'll just be like, "That means nothing." There's absolutely no hidden connotations behind that whatsoever. It's dangerous to give them an inch because they'll take a mile. You know, there's those people that you give them an inch and they take a mile. I work with those kind of people. I work with a large number of those kind of people. I think the mega base is also part of that. So there's nothing normal, spirited, charismatic, etc. about Donald Trump walking around to the death march on stage for a quarter of an hour. It's weird, and there's nothing positive about Elon Musk paying people $1 million to vote, and then, you know, vote conservative, you know, or I guess Republican in the States. That's not charismatic. That's not generous. That's called bribing. That's illegal. He should be in jail right now.
But he's not.
But he's not. It's true.
But see, that's the thing. All these things, they're still going to appeal to a lot of people. That's how they do it. This is, you know, you could say this is playing dirty, but that's politics.
It's true. And I think that's why the right wing gets away with so much, because I feel like in a lot of cases, the left does not play the same game. Like they won't punch down the way that the right will. The right will just go on these nasty ass tirades full of lying that just get people riled up. And the left will be like, here's my policy.
Yeah, I think it's because it's been normalized to the point that that's what happens. If the left tries to do something like that, it'll be such a contrast. They get bastardized for it. Yeah. They immediately get shot down. Now, if they were to pivot somehow, and I don't know how they could do it, but there must be a way to pivot somehow. Maybe it's gradual. Maybe it's...
I mean, I think you're seeing a little bit of it now, though. Like, the Democrats really are...
They're better than they were, yeah. They're not as stuffy.
Better than they were in, like, fighting these allegations, even throwing it back at them. You know, calling mega people, you know, weird, which seems like nothing.
I take offense to them using the word weird. I think weird is a... I like to describe myself as weird. I don't want to be put in the same boat.
Well, now you're in the same boat, so... You know, that's the problem with the left, though. But that's the problem with the left, though, is that, you know, that's why they can't punch down, because, you know, even if they try a little bit, somebody's gonna be like, I take offense to that, you know, like.
But they also choose words that they're not inflammatory enough. You know, they chose weird, and it's like, it's a normal word. They didn't say, oh, they're batshit crazy. They could have done that, and they would have been fine.
They could have done that.
That would have appealed to a lot more people than weird.
I mean, they're calling them dipshits now, so, you know, they're turning it up a little bit. Bouncing dipshits or something, I think Walt's called Elon Musk, something like that. Because Elon Musk, every time he comes out now, he does this fucking weird ass jump thing and his belly flops out of his shirt and
oh man. I told you, it's a laugh riot. And you're saying it's serious business.
Oh no, it's fun. It's funny until you realize it's kind of dangerous. That's the thing. Like,
it'll be fine.
It's funny until you realize it's dangerous, you know? Like, we got the pre-things out and they're already lighting mailboxes on fire and...
Yeah, but that happens every election. All this stuff happens every time. It doesn't really matter, you know? It's all for show. When did you say November 6th? Come November 6th, it's going to be fine.
5th or 6th, I don't know.
It doesn't matter. The world's going to be there for at least a few more days after.
Well, it'll be there till, yeah. I was going to say till January 6th, or 20th, or whatever day the new president comes in, but I think there's going to be some stuff even in the in-between, but, you know, it'll be something to watch. It'll be something to watch. But again, if you want to ensure your democratic rights, get out there and vote. Ensure, especially if you're young, like, you know, I think people in the U.S., like, they're doing great things right now. You know, Biden's trying to do student loan relief, which is great, and he keeps getting blocked left, right, and center. But I mean, that's such a great thing he's doing. For all the necessity of post-secondary education, it shouldn't be hidden behind exorbitant private fees anymore. You know, there's a lot. There's I shouldn't say there's a lot. There's numerous countries in the world now that are making post-secondary education free, and you know that makes sense. You shouldn't have to go into a ton of student debt to have a proper career for yourself in this day and age. I mean, you should never have to do that, but before it wasn't necessarily expected. You didn't have to go to college. You had to go to college if you wanted that advanced knowledge to do some specialized fields. Now fucking everything needs a college degree. You want to go you want to go flip burger, you know, give it 10 years and there'll be a friggin' McDonald's university, and you'll need a PhD in burger flipping to go make $8 an hour at McDonald's.
Man, that'd be pretty sweet. Come on, a McDonald's University with a huge campus and everything. They could do it.
Yeah.
It could be. Can you imagine if 100 years later that's remembered as like the Harvard of today?
You went to McDonald's? Oh my God, you must be loaded.
and then you have the the Futurama business of somebody's frozen and then they travel into the future. They used to be a burger flipper at McDonald's, and they say, and people ask them, so what did you do? Oh, I was at McDonald's, and like, oh, McDonald's. Ooh, you come from a prestigious rank.
That's right. Yeah. That's the thing with post-secondary education. So when you get to that point, like, I feel like people shouldn't be going into debt for that.
That's why so many people are becoming YouTubers nowadays, huh? Look at that. That's what the youth should
I
become.
actually was watching somebody yesterday, and, she said she never finished her schooling. She was like one semester short or something like that. I don't know, whatever it was, because she just became a streamer, and that's what happened. She didn't feel she needed it anymore.
It's a bit strange not to finish the one semester.
I know,
so
when you're that close.
And you already spent all that money. Seems silly.
It's weird, but there are people that, somebody I work with told me that her son is like a gamer guy. And, his plan he's getting to that age where, it's time to not to put any pressure on him, because I really do feel you don't have to decide your future at 16, 17, 18 years old, but you kind of have to like at least decide like what do you want to do next, although there is still time and all that. But I mean, I think as a parent or whatever, you're 18 now, like go do something.
I thought you said 16,
but 16, 17, 18, whatever.
That's a big difference.
Those are the years yes and no, because when in the Canadian school system, it's changed a bit, so I don't know how dated I am here, but if you want to go to university, you have to make that decision when you're 15, 16 years old, because that's the track.
Oh, you're right.
Because there was a track, right? We had academic courses and we had applied courses.
That's so stupid.
And applied went to the trades or just leaving school, and academic was what universities were looking for.
What an awful idea, honestly, in the end.
Right.
They should have just taught everything they needed to teach
getting rid of that
in both cases.
I think they've started to get rid of that, though, so that's good. If they haven't already gotten rid of it, that's what I'm saying. I might be dating myself, because actually I'm not sure how far along they are in that process. But you have to make that decision, because those were the way the courses were designed in even the 9th and 10th grade, but especially by 11 and 12, you needed to kind of set yourself. You could still jump between applied courses and academic level courses between grades 10 and 11 in most cases. But by 11, you kind of have to decide what track you want to be on. At the very least, so that you're set for whatever you do decide. Even if you take a skip year or whatever, you still need those courses. That's what they're looking for. So I said, what do you want to do? And she hates this. And she's and I can't say anything because whatever. She's like he wants to make money doing video games. I said, what does that mean? Like making video games? She's like, no, playing them. He likes to do the Fortnite.
The Fortnite, yeah. You could tell it's a parent talking to you.
Yep. So he likes to do the Fortnite and the video game tournaments and that kind of stuff. I don't know if he's any good.
Yeah, that's the showstopper.
I feel like I can't ask her if he's any good, because I'm sure she doesn't know. But that's what he wants to do. So there are a good number of kids out there who are just like, yeah, I wanna go into streaming. Screw college or university, whatever. I just want to go into streaming.
Well, there's two camps though. There is the competitive side, which is I would say it's equivalent to competitive sports, where it's like,
I would say regardless, if you want to make money with video games, it's equivalent to competitive sports.
yeah, but it's different, right? You have one is competitive sports, which is difficult to get into. The other one is basically being a celebrity, which is also difficult to get into.
Yeah, well, they have the same criteria. The thing is that it's like they're both like 95% luck.
Exactly. But they are still different skills, One of
Oh
them
yeah,
is
yeah, yeah. They're
based
different
on
in
your
terms of skill
skills,
sets.
not
Yeah,
necessarily your personality. The other one's based on fully your personality.
that is true. But you get the kids that are going in that direction. I think a lot of them don't realize that it's not that easy. Like when you crunch the numbers and you realize how many streamers are out there, and
You know why they don't realize it? Because they didn't take the academic math courses to be able to crunch the numbers.
there you go.
I blame the school system for all the YouTubers
Yeah,
coming out of
school
Canada.
system, those teachers need to go on strike.
Well, they're already on strike. Well, that's the problem.
That might be the problem. Man, I see, because I live right up the road from a high school, right? We've talked about this before.
Yeah.
I see the
Legally speaking, you shouldn't talk too much about living up the street from high school.
and I watch those kids every day from my second story window.
We talked about how like when
where they can't see me.
No, we talked about how when they walk in front of your driveway, you always feel like you're gonna run over them when you back out.
That's true. I didn't actually realize maybe necessarily how visible I was from my window, because sometimes I'll stare out. Sometimes I'll stare out my side. Sometimes I'll stare out my side window, and I'll look around, right? Not in anything in particular, but I look around, because why not? I like to kind of look out my window sometimes
With binoculars.
with binoculars into the neighbor's
No, I'm
yard.
asking for real. Like, do you have a pair of binoculars you
No.
use? I do that. I
No.
used to do that sometimes. I used to do that.
That's weird.
From an apartment, from a tall, high-rise building apartment.
I guess that's maybe from a. I guess as long as you're not looking into people's.
Oh yeah, I
properties,
was absolutely.
it's not a,
Where's the fun in using binoculars if you're not looking at other people's apartments?
see, that's not right. But anyway, so sometimes I look out my window, and it's at my driveway, right on the side of my house, and my downstairs neighbors has two cats that he lets outside. They're pretty good cats. They usually just hang out in the driveway. And so you get the kids that are walking home from school and all that, and they see the cats and they'll stop and hang out in the driveway and pet them and all that kind of stuff. Quite frankly, I'm clearly more worried than the downstairs neighbor, because I'm like, what's stopping these kids from just snatching these cats and running off? But
Are they outdoor cats? Like, are they allowed to run around?
yeah, they're outdoor cats. They're free to go wherever they want.
Well, then what difference does it make? The kids can catch them anywhere.
Well, but that's what I'm saying. Like, it doesn't matter. Like, I'd be worried about letting them be outdoor cats in this area. But they're usually pretty good. He leaves his like basement window open so they can just kind of come and go as they please.
The kids or the cats?
Yeah, both. If the kid can fit in the window, it's just a small window, right? You know how
He
those
makes it
basement
so that
windows
they
are.
can fit into the window, but they can't fit out.
They get like halfway in the window. They get stuck.
It's like a horror movie.
That's right. Yeah. But so anyway, so one day I was just looking around, and there were some kids petting the cat, and I was watching them, and they were they were petting them, and they were looking around, and they saw me, and they were like, "Is this your cat? What's his name?" They said, I can't remember what they said. They says, "What's his name?" or whatever, and I said, "I don't fucking know. He's not my cat."
What did the kids say?
And then they walked away, probably because they thought I was, watching them for one reason or another. I wasn't really.
You should have just made light banter with them.
But I was surprised that they even saw me, because I kind of thought like I was on the side of the house. Like, I'm not looking straight out on the driveway. I kind of have to like angle out to look into the, what I mean? Like, it's on an angle.
Hold on, is this the kitchen window?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay, yeah. No, I'm remembering now, and yeah, that was weird. I can't imagine they would see you through that. That's weird that they
No,
can.
me neither. I never thought they would be able to see me, but they saw me.
You
So I was
have,
like,
and you have a mosquito net there, don't you?
and there's a mosquito net in front of it too. Yeah. So
Those are some eagle-eyed children.
yeah, seriously. But I was like, man, I didn't realize I was really visible looking out this window. So now when I look out the window and I see people, I'm like cautious to like, oh, there's people. I'm getting back.
You got to get a mirror where it's like you can look through the mirror instead.
Yeah, it's true. But sometimes I like knowing what's going on in the driveway, because like, especially if I have to go out, like I don't want to go out when there's people out there. So like whenever I leave during the day, I'll like look outside and be like, oh, are there freaking people hanging out there?
Absolutely, yeah. I get the feeling. I check before I open my apartment door into the hallway to make sure there's nobody there.
Yeah, there you go. I don't have that issue, even though I do share a common hallway, but they usually use the back doors. So, but I do look, even if I'm coming home and like I notice somebody's in the driveway doing something or just trying to unload, I'll be like, oh, I'll do a loop around the block till they're gone.
That is a bit that is a bit funny though. You're tired from your day of work or whatever.
I don't want to talk to anybody.
Running around.
I don't want to
just for
talk to
that.
my. Yeah. I mean, if I run into them in the driveway, I'm polite enough or
No,
whatever.
I
we say
get it.
hi,
I
we
get it,
talk
but
and all
it's-
that kind of stuff. But I do everything I can to avoid that situation.
You should park in the red light house's driveway in that case.
There you go. But so anyways, so sometimes the kids will be coming home from school and I'll be looking out the window, and the amount of them that don't carry book bags. Like I remember in high school, my book bags were like 50 pounds, like legitimately 50 pounds. And I remember, when I was younger, I remember seeing conversation in the news and all that. Like, these kids are like walking around with a full other human body worth of books, on their person. You know what I mean?
Sometimes an actual body.
But man, was heavy. And now they don't walk around with anything. They don't have book bags. They don't have anything that would suggest they're taking any form of schoolwork to or from school with them.
Maybe it's all digital now.
I mean, maybe, but then
You access the textbooks on the computer at home.
it's possible, but I'm not willing to bank on that.
Well, still. Do you see other kids with book bags or nobody?
No, sometimes there's a few that you'll see with book bags.
Well, then it's just, I
but
don't know.
it's a
deadbeat
very
children
like
instead of-
everybody carried book bags when we were in high school.
Well, okay, but some of them maybe put drugs in them instead of books.
Okay, fine. If that's what they want to do, go for it. But man, now they don't carry book bags.
They digitized the drugs as well.
Dress code too, man, which is usually not a problem with guys, but with girls, man. Dress code used to be strictly enforced. People used to wear proper clothes. The stuff they walk around in
They didn't
now.
used to wear proper clothing in school. I don't remember that ever happening.
Yeah, they did. For a large portion of it, sure, they might have showed some cleavage or a tiny bit of belly. But man, there are people I see walking to school in the summertime that are wearing, what the equivalent of a fucking beach outfit is.
Yeah, that's fine.
The short.
It's all good. It's all the same.
Is it though? Is it like? I don't care, but because it's not my business at the end of the day. What people wear, and people get all up in arms. If you try to say what people wear and all that kind of stuff, but
Because they'll say you're a pervert for looking.
yeah, well, whatever. That's besides the point. But I just don't. It used to be enforced. The thing is, it used to be enforced to a degree, and certainly the kind of stuff that I see them wearing in the warmer months, that stuff was enforced. You get the minor stuff that really wasn't. They used to say like what your shorts had to be as long as where your fingertips touched. So if they were an inch shorter than that, they weren't going to send you home or anything like that.
Wait, I'm confused. Were your fingertips touched?
Well, when you put your arm down to your side, your shorts should come down to where your.
Oh, I want to stand up and check. Hold on.
Which goes to about your I think it's mid thigh, right?
Oh, I can wear pretty short shorts. I should try that.
Your arms are not that short.
Yeah,
You should
yeah.
try that. You're not in high school.
I gotta try that.
You're just gonna go to a high school and wear something that's shorter than your.
Well, not necessarily a
You're
high
gonna
school.
get kicked out for multiple other reasons.
I just mean like I'm allowed to wear really short shorts. It's good. It's liberating, I was always thinking like, I gotta wear shorts that are close to the knees, long enough, and so on. No, nuts to that. We're not going Speedo, but we're wearing short shorts.
Your dress code should be paper and garbage bags.
Ooh, that's very environmentally friendly.
There you go. That's right. That's right. But anyway, so spaghetti straps, they used to say had to be something like 2 fingers thick, something like that.
What are spaghetti straps?
Like on a tank top, like what the shoulder straps are.
Oh, that's what spaghetti straps are.
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know
So
that.
those used to have to be like 2 fingers thick. And now they walk around. So if it was like 1 finger thick, they didn't do much about that.
What if it's fishing line instead?
But they probably would do something about that. But like now they walk around in tube tops, that just barely cover your chest.
That's the thing where there's no straps, right?
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah. Okay.
Starts low, ends high. That's the tube top. Walk around in the shortest shorts that may as well just be fucking bikini, swimming briefs, swimming speedos, whatever.
They just want to be naked. Let's be
You
honest.
see it pretty much. You see him going to school like that. You see him coming home like that. And it's like, what the fuck? It's wild, and it's not necessary. It's not even necessarily that the teachers are bad or they're set up for, whatever. It's the fact that the teachers' hands are tied, because if they fail a student, they send a student home, they say you're dressing wrong or whatever, then you get the parents in, and the parents will sue, and the parents will try to get you fired. And, the kids do no wrong. It's all the public education system. And so everybody's hands are tied. So they don't fail students. So therefore, students don't have to do any work. So they don't have to bring homework home with them. The amount of homework we used to have to do at night, maybe in some cases was excessive, but, it prepared you, made you better educated, and it made you more accountable for the future when you didn't have somebody watching you like a teacher. Like I always say my favorite teacher in high school, like it was starting to go down when you and I were in high school. My favorite teacher in high school, especially in like the later grades, was Mr. Kellershawn. And I imagine you remember him, right?
Yeah, Mr. Number 17.
Mr. Number 17.
That was his favorite prime number, I think, as I recall.
Oh, okay. All right. So, I mean, I was very fortunate afterwards, after we got out of high school, like I did one of my teaching practicums with him. I got to work with him afterwards, and I got to work with him kind of in the shitified education system. But he was always my favorite teacher because I feel like he was the hardest on us, and he expected the most out of us, and he wasn't afraid to like give us homework, give us tasks, and make us accountable. Like I feel like he prepared us, out of all the teachers I had, I feel like he prepared us best for post-secondary. And now I don't know if there's any teachers like even him. He's the teacher that told me when I was doing my practicum. He's the teacher that told me, I'm sure I've told this story before. He's the teacher that told me, don't give kids homework. He's the one who told me that.
Wow.
Which was completely different than, 5-6 years prior when he was my teacher, when he was our teacher. He said it punishes it punishes the good students because they're the only ones who will do it. And you can't fail the bad ones anyways. And then I remember also, and I think this one I haven't told, I remember I was giving them a test and two girls were like looking and talking to each other. And it was towards the end. And I was like, okay, you guys are done. And I walked over to him. I took their papers. And he told me afterwards, he said, you can't do that. I said, they were cheating. He said, doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Like if you were in a real situation and those kids, cared, or they had parents that cared, he said you would have got your ass handed to you. You probably would have been shown the door. He didn't say it in those words. He's a little more politically correct.
I don't know. I can imagine him saying it in those words.
Maybe, yeah.
So how did he sound when he said that you shouldn't give them homework anymore?
I think we probably talked about how ridiculous it was. I'm sure we did.
Okay, so he's definitely he's fully against the new world order of high school or school.
I would
general.
think so. I think he's told me before. I think he told me. I mean, we're talking a long time ago, right? Still, when I did my practicum, that was
no, but I mean, I'm sure it hasn't improved.
10, 11,
since
whatever.
Then. It's probably at least stayed.
No,
status
but I haven't
quo.
talked to him since. I haven't talked to him. Maybe I don't want to say necessarily since then, but not much since then. I can't necessarily say how he feels or how I remember those conversations going. But I remember talking about how ridiculous. I feel like I remember him actually telling me that he would get out of teaching if he could, or he'd go to a private school if private schools hold people to higher standards, but for teachers they pay worse than the public school system. Actually, Ontario's public school system, if you're in it long enough, pays actually pretty good.
But you gotta leave all your cares behind to be able to do it.
Yeah. But even, Kellershawn told me, I remember Kellershawn telling me, like, he would have to paint in the summertime.
Yeah, I remember you said that too.
Continue getting by. So it might only be in, like, areas of Toronto that the pay is good. But I'm pretty sure he told me either get out of teaching or he'd go in the private school system if he could find something that was, stable enough at his age and, without the lack of transferable skills or whatever. But the problem with private school is, I think teachers are better off. They have more freedom to fail and all that because that's what parents expect from a private school, who spend the money to take their kids to all that. But in terms of teachers, because it's a private system, they kind of get paid so teachers in the public school system get paid on salary, right, throughout the whole year. So they break the whole thing down through the whole year. So if you make $60,000 a year, and that works out to $1,900, biweekly or whatever. You get paid that all year, even in the summertime. In the private school system, because I've looked into it too. When I was trying to decide, if I was going to go teach or whatever, where I was going to go teach, etc. In the private school system, you get paid like only per hour. So they might say like, oh, you'll make $30, $35 an hour, but it's only like technically 30 hours a week, 27 hours a week, something like that. Like what's a week now? I think it's like 5. And because teachers only teach 3 periods out of the day, so they're only teaching 75% of the day. And that's all they pay you for, and they don't pay you for extracurriculars, and they expect private school teachers to like be a part of a club, be involved in the more social aspect of the school, and they don't pay you for that. That's how it was, 10 years ago or whatever. Maybe it's changed since then. You're only getting paid for what amounts to about 4.5 hours a day. So like the hourly rate might be good, but you're only getting paid for like 4.5, 5 hours a day because you don't teach all 4 courses, and they don't pay you for like the break period. So it works out to kind of
So the moral of the story is don't be a teacher. Be a YouTuber instead.
That's right. Yeah, be a YouTuber. But anyway, so the kids are crazy nowadays, and it's not necessarily the teachers, it's the parents. Teachers' hands are tied, and as a result,
At least there's a bit of contrast. I don't know. I guess it's different in all over the continent. But like my niece, for example, she does get a lot of homework. She's in middle school right now, but she does get a lot of homework, and
she's in public school.
Yeah.
Oh, that's good.
So I think it's different depending on where you are. It's not all the same. I don't think it's always people in tube tops running around petting strange cats and looking at them.
That might be true. I'm sure there are exceptions
because I want to defend some schools. If some schools are doing a good job, I feel like they should be commended for it. I don't think it's all horrible, like in the high school that's nearby where you live, or I guess in the whole education system in Ontario, because it's all the same, right? It's all standardized.
Yeah, I mean there are certainly levels. So I did three teaching stints. And 2 of them were in Hamilton, and then 1 was at our old high school. The first one I did was in kind of a more upscale area. It was the high school that it used to be it actually used to be a war high school, so they put out a lot of like World War soldiers, but or military academy or whatever. But it was also the high school that like who went there?
Famous people, Canadian famous people, right?
Yeah, like Ben Stiller. I think Ben Stiller and Martin Short went there.
So military personnel and comedians came out of there.
Sure. So, but it was a higher end area, and the students in large part were respectful. I don't remember having my hands really tied. Like I could give them an assignment and whatever. It was maybe a little bit stricter in terms of what I could and couldn't punish, in terms of late marks and all that kind of stuff. But it wasn't terrible. The students tried. They were good students. I enjoyed them. And they seemed, well educated, smart, and all that kind of stuff. And my second one was in a lower end part of Hamilton. And it was, even the teachers in the higher end, they dressed nice. They all still had their own personalities and all that kind of stuff. But they reflected the school and they reflected the students. The second one that I went to was in a lower end area. And it was the exact opposite experience, The kids were a lot more disrespectful. They were stupider, clearly dressed worse. The teachers clearly dressed worse. They got away with a lot more stuff. It seemed like respect from the students was more based on how cool the teacher was versus how intelligent or helpful or towards their future they were. And then, the third one, which was back at our old high school, was, don't give them homework and all that kind of stuff. But it was more of a kind of in the middle. So, there were some classes that were good and we had good students, and there were classes that weren't. We had bad, and there were, bad students and don't give them homework and all that kind of stuff. So it varies, but it has degraded. I think you'll find very few people who will say it hasn't degraded in the last 10 or 15 years, pretty universally between Canada and the United States. And even your niece, in middle school and that might not be the situation when she gets to high school. Maybe there's different standards in middle school and elementary school. And
well, the middle school is in the high school.
Oh, is it? Okay.
So I would say that, whatever standard is being held right now, it'll continue to hold for the rest of the high school years.
But the area makes a difference.
That,
If it's
that's
a more
true. It's a
affluent
small.
area,
Well, that's the thing, though. It's a small town, right? So it's different in that sense that like there's no discrepancy between the poor area and the rich area like there would be in a big place like Hamilton. It would be more. Well, I wouldn't even call it centrist like Centennial, but like probably around there actually, around something like that. But maybe in the golden days of when we went there instead of the doomsday that's started when we left.
I mean, I'm going to say, like, you can say what you say about your niece. In all fairness, I have tried to be a teacher in the system, and I hate what it's become. Obviously, that's my experience, but across, 3 different schools, there wasn't enough there to convince me that this is what I want. I wanted to teach since I was 10 years old. And I remember in, like, the 8th grade, teachers knew how much I wanted to teach, and they let me, like, do a lesson. So, like, I was able to do kind of this stuff, early on. When I graduated school, I came back for a couple of months, for the first few years, just to kind of keep my feet wet, keep, my connections open. By the time I got to teachers college, it had degraded. Like, my experience across the board was like, this is not what I saw growing up. This isn't what I want to do anymore. That's where it came to. So, I mean, I'm not necessarily stating.
Are you calling my niece a liar?
No. But I'm like I said, there's exceptions to every rule. You know what I mean? But I feel like your niece's experience might be the minority.
Could be. Maybe she's lucky.
So as somebody who's kind of gone down the professional track, I feel like it has become something that I didn't want to be a part of anymore. So that's how far down it's gone. And again, that could be my experience. That could be the Ontario system or the 2 school boards I worked in. And maybe it was a case of maybe finding, but I feel like even, I guess it comes down to the school board again, but I'm sure the school down the road, just looking at the students, is probably, very similar. So I don't know. It's not great. If you get into a good school, if you're in a good school, parents, if your kid goes to a good school, if your kids are coming home with homework and being held to some standard, they're in a good spot, and you should feel very lucky. Anyways, we've talked a lot, and we got some other things to get to, so let's get to that.
So, speaking of schools, did you watch the movie?
Yes. Pump Up the Volume with Christian Slater.
1990.
I hated it.
Oh, come on, man.
I hated it.
I love this movie.
Did you actually?
I loved it, man. Okay, so first of all, as a synopsis quickly, Christian Slater plays a socially awkward teenager who moonlights as the host of a pirate radio show. Pirate radio being just a radio setup that you do where you're not licensed to do it, but people can still listen to it on some sort of FM radio. I loved it. But tell me why you didn't like it.
I feel like it was just kind of a teenage angst version of Good Morning Vietnam.
Ah, okay, I see.
But not as funny, not as interesting. I feel like nothing happened. I thought the ending was stupid. I don't think any part of it was necessarily memorable. It was like, here's shock jock radio in high school, and then the kids all act irrational, and you're right, this actually was a good segue. The kids all act irrationally crazy over the smallest things, and I'm just like, that's probably not going to happen. I had a hard time buying into the fact that Christian Slater's character was this super charismatic underground radio jockey, underground shock jock, but in real life, like, couldn't talk to anybody.
I mean, it happens though, right?
Like, at all. Like, it was really extreme. It was extreme on both ends. Like, it wasn't this middling thing, okay, I do the streaming, and, I have a certain way of presenting myself on the streaming or on the podcast or where when I go out into public, I'm very quiet and reserved, and I try not to talk to people and, look at people and etc. And I hope they don't look at me.
So you're not saying you're a perfect example of this?
But I'm not on that level.
Yeah, but I mean, they exaggerate. Of course, they exaggerate for effect, but still, it's like...
Yeah, but it was too much exaggeration. It was like, okay, if I look at it on a scale where, 0 is like, super reserved and quiet and away from everything, and 100 is like bouncing off the fucking walls. On stream, I would say I'm like a 65, and in person, I'd say I'm like a 30. In this movie, it was literally 0 and 100.
Okay, fair enough.
And I hated that. It was too much. I don't like that. I don't like those big exaggerated characters for the sake of being exaggerated. And then I'm supposed to take it seriously. I watched it and I was thinking like it had different energy to it, but this is like the 90s version of like Napoleon Dynamite, where everything was just so stupidly exaggerated. And I hated every minute. And I hated Napoleon Dynamite also. Because it was just like, it was either 0 or 100.
See, I didn't like Napoleon Dynamite, so I didn't want to make that comparison to this movie.
Well, I only make the comparison, like I said, because it was either 0 or 100. Like, that's what it was on the scale. Like, it was just, it was too extreme. And I felt, Napoleon Dynamite was the same way. It was too extreme in terms of the awkwardness of the characters. And that's a large part of what I hated about it. So this was the same way, except it wasn't the awkwardness of the characters. It was just the
contrast between the awkwardness and the non-awkwardness.
But they were all like that. Like the teachers were either reprehensibly horrible, which they all were except for one, and the one was like fucking, again, on a scale of 0 to 100, she was 100 goody two shoe, and all the other teachers were literally zeros, the most corrupt motherfuckers on the face of the planet. And the teens and the kids were the same way. You got the like the nerdy girl. The nerdy girl was weird and nerdy at a very high degree. You got the goth librarian book girl, which was like, again, like she's writing on the walls like a fucking, you see in those the guy's wife gets murdered and he's trying to solve the murder, and so he's got pins on the wall. Like that's how she was, just trying to figure out who this guy was. I'm like, who the fuck is doing this?
I that's something I would do. So that spoke to me.
And then you get the guy that's weird, and then you get the guy that was expelled, and he was on the news station throwing fucking firecrackers in front of the reporter, and I'm like, none of this is
smoke bombs.
This is like not even. This isn't an exaggerate. Like, okay, you look at The Office. Like The Office is like exaggerated, but it's not extreme because like one of the reasons I always like The Office was like I can point people out that I know that were like this. I couldn't point out a single person that I knew was like the characters in this movie. It may as well have been a cartoon, because that's the only way you could have made the movie more extreme is by making it a cartoon. So then you can really fucking go big and beyond. And to me, that's just, it's awkward, and I don't like that style. And not to mention, it had like no plot. Like it just wasn't for me. I did not like this movie.
All right. For me, you say you didn't know anybody who's like those characters, and it's true. Maybe I didn't know anybody who's like those characters, but for me, I was able to see myself doing things that they were doing. I understood that feeling. And maybe it's because my maturity level is still that of a teenager, I guess, but I don't know, everything about it really spoke to me. It's like I could see myself listening to this pirate radio show back in the old days and actually like being interested in it.
Really?
Yeah.
I would have turned it off right
away.
No,
it's fine. I get it. But just to say that I absolutely felt the same way.
Like, I don't like shock jocks. Like, I would never listen to Howard Stern, things like that.
Yeah, okay, I get that aspect wasn't as interesting to me. But just the fact that, I don't know, they talk about life as a teenager. And a lot of the things they talk about that's like, I don't know how I guess most people feel, but I think that's a feeling that many teenagers have.
I think I disagree with you on that too, because I don't feel like he talked about being a teenager. He just exaggerated things and made fun of people. Even that Suicide Guide, like I guess that was the biggest. I guess that was the probably maybe the best point of the movie was like when that guy killed himself. He was very distraught, and he even said like I didn't tell him not to do it.
Yeah, and he regretted it.
He just made fun of it. He just made fun of him.
Exactly, but then that was the turning point of the whole movie.
Well, then he realized some more serious stuff, but then he just kept doing the same thing anyways. But eventually he kind of stood up for students and all that, which he was doing even before the suicide. Like he called up and asked why the teacher suspended that one girl that was pregnant and all that kind of stuff. But I don't feel like he was really like, maybe with that situation he was with the overall arc of the story was you have the shock jock and you have all these corrupt teachers, and he realizes with the help of that girl that he can use his voice to like help bring down this very corrupt teacher system. It was a very loose story, but that's what the story was. And he does at the end, and he also ends up in jail. But I'm also thinking like no high school shock jock is going to attract the FCC, police, and whatever, all the people that he had, searching for him and wiretapping him and all that kind of stuff. And I'm just like, I don't know, man. The movie was just, it was too far beyond belief for me.
I think there are laws against certain things like that. So arguably, maybe they exaggerated it, but that is a viable thing to arrest somebody for. I don't know. The fact that really it was the school, right? The fact that the school wanted to keep doing what it was doing, the corrupt thing that it was doing of expelling children while after getting the funds for the school, in order to basically have more money. They didn't want to lose that, so they insisted on, the problems with the school are all because of him, all because of this radio show host, and that's how it all started. I get it. Maybe it's exaggerating how much of a force against him there was, but it would happen, I would think.
I don't think it would happen. I think it was too far out to say it would happen. I don't agree with you on that. I don't know. I didn't like it. You liked it. Let's play King of the Hill.
This one takes the cake.
Does it?
Yep. It beats out Rough Night.
Wow. All right. We got a new king for Raji. And for me, Bridesmaids is still on top. So that's where we're sitting this week. That's a hell of a...
It's, like I said, it spoke to me.
Interesting. I also don't feel like I was the age group for that movie either. It's a teenage movie. Like for me, it wasn't.
That's why it helps when you have a mindset of a teenager like I do.
Yeah, maybe that's it. Yeah. All right, Raji, tell us what's next.
Ocean's 11. Have you seen it?
I actually have not seen it.
All right, I haven't seen it in a long time, so let's watch it.
Ocean's 11.
There you go. Classic Hollywood film, so you can't go wrong with it. It's a heist movie, so everybody likes heist movies.
True. George Clooney, Matt Damon.
All the pretty boys of Hollywood.
Andy Garcia, Brad Pitt, Julia Roberts, Casey Affleck. We don't get the good Affleck, but, there's an Affleck in it. Scott Conn, Elliot Gould, Bernie Mac, Carl Reiner. That's one of those Hollywood heavy hitters, right? Where they bring in all the big boys.
And Ocean's 11 is the first one because, they made a lot of other ones.
Yeah, they actually did make a lot of others. I think they're working on another one.
They're going to run out of numbers. At least this is going to be another stupid movie instead of a completely, apparently, contrastive movie where you hate it, I love it.
I mean, I don't care if we agree or not. Like, to me, it doesn't matter. I want to find a movie. I've already said this, and I guess Bridesmaids is close we've been so far. I want to find a movie that you speak negatively of. That's why we started this project.
It ends when I finally find a movie like that.
That's right. That's when this project will be over, is when we find a movie that Raji does not like.
But hey, look at all the friends we made along the way.
It's true. We've watched some good movies. We watched what I thought were some stinkers. And, some famous one, Gran Turismo,
Gran Torino.
And now Ocean's 11, so... Gran Torino, sorry.
We'll get to Gran Turismo someday.
Maybe, yeah, possibly. Gran Torino, so that's a heavy hitter. This one's a heavy hitter, so, Bridesmaids had a good, and then we saw some surprising ones, like...
Abduction.
What just got toppled, Rough Night. No, that.
The oven bomb.
Like Rough Night. Rough Night was one that you and I probably never would have watched. I never would have
that's
thought
still
in a
gem.
million years
that's still a
that Black Widow, a hidden thing, a hidden gem.
Hidden gem, absolutely.
I never would have thought Black Widow was starring in that kind of a movie in the peak of her popularity. So it's brought out some good stuff. There we go. Ocean's 11 is next. All right. Word of the fortnight.
The word of the fortnight this time around is brook. B-R-O-O-K. Now, before you think, it's the noun. No.
Babbling brook.
It's the verb brook. To brook. You know what it means? It means to put up with. To tolerate. So, for example, Dustin and Igor will not brook non-constructive criticism about their podcast.
Oh, I will. I don't care. I'll just unconstructive criticize the unconstructive criticizers.
Two wrongs make a right.
Fight fire with fire. That's right. More fire will cancel out the other fire and definitely not make a bigger fire. But brook, there you go. So now you guys know the noun and the verb, which have nothing to do with each other.
Yeah, I was surprised when I heard it.
All right, guys.
Now it's Pokemon time.
It's Pokemon's time. Do 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 do. All right, we are on the second round of the Pokemon quiz where we're judging Pokemon cries from the legendary Pokemon plus Scyther, because why not? We are on battle number 32, even though we did 33 last time. We're on 32, and it's between 32 and 33. So here we go. Here's
So
32.
confusing.
I know. Yeah. Yeah. Here we go. Here's 32.
That sounds like a Zelda sound effect. Right? The last
Actually,
part.
you're right. At the end, it actually does sound like there's Zelda music in there. Yeah.
It's the when he opens the chest, right?
Oh yeah. Da-da-da-da-da. Yeah, it does actually. Yeah, that's right. That's right. That's funny. Okay. And 33.
I don't know. The second one's just a howl. I prefer the first one.
It is just a howl. Yeah, the first one's better. I like
Because of the Zelda
I like the
sound
Zelda
effect.
tone at the end. Yeah, that is interesting. And but the thing with that sound is like, it doesn't sound like it's even part of again, it's just one of those ones that doesn't even sound like part of the cry. It's like they were recording in the same studio at the same time, and as the Zelda team, and it was like they just caught the music at the end of the recording.
No, it wasn't even the recording. It's just somebody was playing Zelda in the background of Game Freak's offices.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Yeah. Steve, I told you to shut that up. Sorry, he just keeps going. Yeah. That's what it sounds like to me. Yeah, I agree with you. I'm going to go with 32 on this one. I like that little Zelda note at the end. All right, 34. Here we go. Between 16 and 80. Here's 16. And 80.
Oh, it's got a nice echo.
Deep and guttural. That one does have a nice echo. This one's in a canyon. 16 is more...
It's just like an industrial sound.
It kind of is like an industrial sound, yeah. It's got a tail to it too, but
Not as good,
it has
though.
a little bit of a different pitch. But yeah,
It
it
sounds more
good.
metallic. No, I like the second one. I like it being, as you said, in a valley, so that it echoes. It's very rock-like Pokemon, probably.
I agree. I think if it's going to be a standard roar, I kind of want something that's a little deeper and I don't like the high-pitched ones.
Because they're also very
necessarily. Like that
crystalline,
one-
usually, the high-pitched ones. Crystalline or metallic, and they kind of get samey.
Yeah, yeah. No, I like the deep. Yeah, I'm with you. I like the 80. I like the 80. All right, number 35, between 17 and 81. Here's 17.
Well, that's horribly short.
That was just short. It doesn't even register as there being a time on the audio track. It's just 0 out of 0.
It's like a little sword swipe.
That's what I was gonna say. It was like a dagger or something
Crystal
like that.
sword,
That's what
crystal
it reminds me of, a
dagger.
dagger. Yeah, yeah, yeah. And here's 81.
Oh, another horse. I guess this would be one that we've heard before. Yeah.
Yeah, I think this one we've heard.
I like it. I like this one still. The fact that it's just blatantly a horse.
It's true. Just like galloping through like some
And
some
again,
trees or
it's
some
not
branches.
a cry, as you said, because you can hear the trees and the branches below the hooves.
Yeah, yeah. There's always that extra sound that's just not a cry. I don't think Game Freak knows what cries are. I'm having a hard time with this one. I kind of like the daggery sound of 17 too, though.
Because it's so short. You're a big fan of those short ones because they're just laughable.
Yeah, but you're right. I do like the deeper one with the branches, or like he's running through the branches. Yeah, okay, I'll go with 81. All right, number 36, last one. 8 versus 57. The numbering has been all over the place here. Like we had 32 and 33 in round 32.
It's all random. That's why.
And then it was 16 and 80, and then 17 and 81. Sometimes random doesn't seem random.
That's exactly why. Yeah, when companies have to make something random, people demand it not be random because otherwise it's
Yeah, that's how Spotify.
Spotify, Apple did that as well.
Okay, 36 between 8 and 57. Here we go. 8. It's like he had a little crystalline fart at the end.
It's like an alarm.
That would be a horrendous alarm.
No, but like the alarm doors.
Yeah. I've played it on a repeat. Kind of does sound like that. Yeah. All right, 57.
It's a bird.
That is a bird.
I kind of like that first one, actually. It sounds like something you. The first sound effect is basically something you'd hear in Mega Man.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah. I think it's maybe a little too complicated for Mega Man, but maybe.
Well, you know what I
Close.
mean. Like maybe the later generations.
Yeah.
Just like a sound effect again of a door, maybe in Super Metroid, something that is not a Pokemon cry. Let's be honest.
It's true. This is not. Yeah. That's a little more realistic to actually
Yeah, but
animal
it's so
sound.
so dull, that one.
Yeah, it's true.
That's why I don't really want to pick because yeah, I get it. That one sounds like a bird, and yeah, it's true to form probably. But the door alarm, it's got something going. I want to see what Pokemon has a door alarm as the cry.
It's true. I mean, we are going to look at them all anyways, regardless of who pulls through. But yeah, we can go with 8.
You don't have a preference. Yeah.
I don't have preference on this one. I don't really like either of them. So
I mean, if we were to do a tiebreaker, I don't think mine would be too different. I think it would be another one of those cases like 60-40 or whatever.
oh, I was gonna say if I do a tiebreaker, it's gonna be like 51-49. That's about it. Yeah,
Well, we'll just go with 8 then.
that's about it. All right, let's go with 8. All right, there we go. That's the Pokemon sounds of the week of the fortnight. All right, guys, that's it from us. Go vote.
And enjoy your candy.
Oh, enjoy your Halloween's candy. That's right. Get hopped up on Halloween candy and then go vote. Don't vote for Reese's. That's candy. Don't vote for candy. Eat candy. Vote for a real person.
Reese's is racist.
Racist. Yeah. There you go. Ciao.